Hello there, good evening and welcome. Every moment of the day, events break from the nation's federal capital city, Abuja, by critical players of the different sectors of our national life. What we do on this platform, therefore, is to relive these issues and happenings to your living room every week. This is Abuja Dispatch, and my name is ABUJA Arogbodo. Let's start off with those stories that made up our news headlines in the last 7 days.
President Muhammadu Buhari says he would want to be remembered as the president who stabilized Nigeria in the area of security, economic prosperity, and triumph over corruption. The president, who spoke at a town meeting with Southeast leaders during his one-day official visit to Imo State, said with less than 2 years left in his 8-year tenure as president, security still remains a major priority for his administration. The president told Southeast leaders that while fighting corruption in Nigeria had become very sophisticated and difficult, he would continue to strive to leave a lasting legacy of integrity, accountability in the system, regretting that successive governments at the federal level contributed to the decay of critical infrastructure in the country. The president promised that his administration would complete ongoing key projects in the southeast, including the second Niger Bridge, as well as linking the region with other parts of the country. The Federal Executive Council has approved the National Policy on Fifth-Generation 5G Networks for Nigeria's digital economy. The 5G policy was approved by the Council during the Council meeting following the presentation by the Minister of Communication and Digital Economy, Isa Ali Ibrahim Pantami, while the implementation of the national policy takes immediate effect. Consequently, the National Frequency Management Council NFMC will soon release spectrum to the Nigerian Communications Commission NCC for the mobile network operators that meet all required conditions. Ahead of the November governorship election in Anambra State, the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) says it will deploy the new bimodal voter accreditation system to ensure transparent management of results during elections. The electoral body explained that the device will perform the functions of both the smart card reader and Z-Pad that will also guarantee the credibility of voter authentication. Chairman, Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC), Professor Mahmood Yakubu, disclosed this at the third quarterly meeting with the civil society organization in Abuja. He said the functionality of the Z-Pad has now been integrated into the INEC voter enrollment device currently used for voter registration. The federal government says it is determined to confront adult literacy program with the same zeal used in handling out-of-school children challenge in the country. The Minister of Education, Malam Adamu, hinted this at the flag-off of the 2021 International Literacy Day in Abuja. The minister said the day serves as a platform for governments at all levels, as well as literacy delivery agencies, to review progress made so far and the challenges being encountered in the delivery of adult and youth literacy programs, as well as the non-formal education in general. Adamu noted that SDG targets 4.6 require that by 2030, member states should ensure that all youth and a substantial proportion of adults achieve literacy and numeracy equivalent to levels achieved at successful completion of basic education.
Welcome back. Even though there is no clear link between lack of food access and civil conflicts, food insecurity is now being discussed as a factor that can spark up social drivers of national conflicts. There have been repeated calls for a clear understanding of how food insecurity can affect national security. This is the thrust of our discourse tonight on Dateline. Stay with us.
Nigeria has been overly dependent on oil for its foreign exchange earnings and government revenue since the oil boom of the 1970s. Prior to this period, the country was self-sufficient in food production and carved a respectable niche for itself as a major exporter of several cash crops. However, as agriculture lost its supremacy to oil, it went into a steady decline due to neglect by successive governments. The neglect led to mass abandonment of farms, resulting in extreme peasantization of the sector. A related negative fallout was Nigeria's transition from food self-sufficiency to food dependency and attendant massive importation to bridge food gaps. However, efforts have been made by the government to reposition the agricultural sector to boost its productive capacity and make it competitive. In recent times, insecurity in Nigeria is having a serious negative impact on farming communities as it prevents them from engaging in crop production at optimal levels. Agricultural activities in the northeast of Nigeria are completely suspended as a result of the terrorist activities of the Boko Haram group in that geopolitical zone. The devastation which the activities of Boko Haram has caused is not only obvious, but also far-reaching in its impact on agriculture.
You remember stories from some of the northeast states where farmers have to be guarded by soldiers before they can go to their farm. How much do they have to pay? And should they pay? What are they going to charge to break even at the end of the day? So the issue of insecurity is hydra-headed. The chain effect, it has not even started. That is why every morning you go to the market, you see a new price. And it will continue to haunt us until something drastic is done.
The insecurity is so high that as we speak, there's no day that passes without a farmer in one way or the other, in one state or the other, in one local government or the other, is not killed by Fulani herdsmen. I use the word Fulani herdsmen, they are the one killing farmers, and today farmers are scared. Some of us come from the grassroots. If we travel home, we could see their helplessness. They can no longer go home. They stay at home, and if you ask, if we go to a farm now, we'll be killed.
According to the Amnesty International 2020 report, insecurity in Nigeria has been aggravated by the criminal activities of sundry groups, and the one with the most devastating impact is the Fulani herders whose murderous campaigns have targeted farming communities with no challenge from the state. The displacement of farming communities as a result of attacks by armed groups, criminal violence and banditry is associated with the present alarming rise in food and nutrition insecurity due to non-availability of food. Many are of the belief that the intractability of insecurity will result from the clash of national insecurity, food insecurity. In other words, the national insecurity makes it impossible for farmers to engage in their farming activities, which will result to food shortages. When this happens, it will create disaffection, which in turn spawns a new round of insecurity due to the intensification of food crisis and mass reaction to it. Nigeria is therefore at the verge of constant security challenges caused by the interplay of national insecurity and food insecurity.
The insecurity, especially in the north, has greatly affected the cost of food, because farmers can go to the farms to harvest their crops. When they go, they are either killed or kidnapped, and this has affected movement of food from the north down to the south. And of course, when there's the scarcity, the next thing is there's going to be a hike in the prices of food items in the market.
There are far-reaching implications on Nigeria's security architecture if food insecurity is not reversed and resolved. Under different scenarios, food insecurity can create national insecurity. In other words, national insecurity can be aggravated due to the effects of food insecurity.
When you are hungry, you have no food to eat, you are angry. And when you are hungry, agitation suffices. Where we have insurgency, killings of our farmers, X-Men, if I just farmer, nobody goes to farm, and then we have drought of food and famine, then you can see the nexus.
Although there is an ongoing effort by the government through some agencies to reposition the agricultural sector and make it the engine of Nigeria's economic growth, but the effort can only yield expected dividends if the government does the needful with regards to national insecurity. There is no way the country can promote productivity or achieve competitiveness where people feel unsafe.
Thanks for staying with us. As preparation for the 2023 general elections picks up the pace, the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has consistently emphasized commitments to raising the bar of standard set in previous elections. Our guest tonight on Split Views is a National Commissioner of INEC and the Chairman Information and Voter Education, Barrister Festus Okoye. Join us again. Welcome to the Split Views segment of our program, ABUJA Dispatch. And on Split Views tonight, we take on INEC National Commissioner and Chairman Information and Voter Education, Barrister Festus Okoye. You're welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you so much.
Now, sir, let's look at the adjective independent in the Independent National Electoral Commission. How independent is the commission?
Well, the commission is independent. The framers of our constitution and the Nigerian people felt that they needed a commission that will be completely independent, both from the executive and from the legislature, and also from big businesses and from pressure groups. So the commission was mandated and given exclusive jurisdiction and exclusive mandate to organize, undertake, and supervise elections in Nigeria. And in supervising elections, in conducting elections, the commission is not beholden to any individual or to any group. And that is why, if you look at section 118 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, you can see that in terms of the registration of voters and the conduct of elections, the commission is absolutely and completely independent. If you also look at section 160 of the Constitution, you can see that in terms of its operations, in terms of its organization, and also in terms of the conduct of election, the commission is the agency that has been given the mandate to confer powers and authority and also compel other organs of government and other agencies to do certain things in relation to an election. So the commission is independent, and the commission has been carrying out its mandate to the best of its ability.
Now, when you look at what, when it comes to some arguments and directions from the National Assembly, people always ask that question that, okay, if the commission is independent, why can't they take some of those steps without really any recourse to the National Assembly?
Well, the National Assembly is a creation of the Constitution. The Independent National Electoral Commission is a creation of the Constitution. The executive is a creation of the Constitution. So all these organs, all these agencies of government derive their power and their mandate from the Constitution, because the Constitution is the fundamental law of the land. Now, the National Assembly has been given the power to make laws for the good governance of this country. Based on that, it is only the National Assembly that has been authorized to make laws. It's only the National Assembly that has the virus and the power to alter the provisions of the Constitution. So based on that, it is completely within the purview and jurisdiction of the National Assembly to do some of the things it's doing. Now, the only challenge here is that in terms of amending the electoral legal framework, amending the Electoral Act 2010 as amended, the National Assembly cannot make any law that is inconsistent with the provisions of the Constitution without altering the provisions of the Constitution itself. In terms of the powers of the Commission, the powers of the Commission have been given by the Constitution. So what is in issue here is really not the power of the Commission to conduct elections or to organize, undertake, and supervise elections. It is the powers of the Commission in relation to its procedure, because under the Electoral Act, the conduct of election is a step-by-step issue. From the polling unit, for instance, the moment an election ends at the level of the polling unit, what happens is that the presiding officer will sort out the votes. And then after sorting out the votes, the presiding officer will count the votes. And thereafter, the presiding officer will enter those votes in a form provided by the Independent National Electoral Commission. In this case, the commission provides what we call Form EC8A, which is the polling unit result sheet. Then thereafter, the presiding officer will sign and stamp. Poll agents or party agents, as if you wish, will also sign if available. And then they will be given copies. And then the presiding officer and other poll officials will pack up and take these things to the registration area collation center, where the collation officer will also collect the votes from all the polling units and also enter into Form EC8B and then move to the next stage. So it is this step-by-step approach, this stage-by-stage approach that is an issue, and not really whether the commission has the power to organize and conduct elections.
All right, sir. Now, the continued voter registration is one exercise that the commission is particular about now.
Yes.
How has been the success story so far?
Well, I think it's been a huge success so far. As you are aware, this particular commission decided to introduce what we call the online pre-registration. And through this online pre-registration, so many of our youths have pre-registered. So what is going on now is that those who are pre-registered are approaching our state and local government offices to complete their biometrics in terms of capturing their fingerprints and also capturing their facials. And as at the 30th of August this year, a total of 2,485,770 have pre-registered. But in terms of completed registration, we have a total of 569,828 that have completed their registration. So from the statistics, it's very, very clear that so many Nigerians are enthusiastic. For Anambra State, the commission has deployed to the registration areas. So you are going to see an increase, a astronomical increase in terms of the voter registration from Anambra. For the other states, we have not deployed to the registration areas based on security considerations and also based on security advice. So as we assess the security situation, as we assess the Nigerian environment, we'll be in a position to make a determination on when to deploy to the various registration areas. But I just came back from Zamfara State, where I went to go and monitor the progress of the CVR. And I went to Bungudu Local Government Office of the Commission. I also went to Goso Local Government Office of the Commission, and also visited the State Headquarters Office of the Commission. And you could see the enthusiasm, the sheer number of people coming out to come and register. So wherever there is pressure, we deploy additional machines to make sure that we ease the pressure until the time we're able to deploy to the registration areas or to what you normally call the wards.
Now, because you mentioned Anambra State just now, maybe we should just jump to Anambra State, because we find out that is the next port of call even for the commission right now.
Yes.
Now, and putting into consideration the loss of facilities in recent times,
Yes.
you know, that INEC has suffered in that axis, what is the level of engagement of the commission with the gladiators and the voters in that axis so that we will not experience what we call this voter apathy?
If you go to Anambra now, you can see that our state office is engaged in robust engagement with all the critical stakeholders, with traditional rulers, with religious leaders, with the political parties, with civil society groups and organizations, and with all the critical stakeholders in Anambra State. Not only that, we are also running programs on television, on the radio, and also putting adverts on the pages of newspapers relating to the CVR. Because if you look at the law, if you look at Section 9 and Section 10 of the Electoral Act 2010 as amended, you will see that the law obligates the Commission to stop any form of registration or updating or revision of the voters' register 60 days to an election. So we are going to stop every form of registration by the 6th day of September. And that's why we are devolving to the registration areas in Anambra State, and also continuing with the voters registration in all the local governments and also in the state office. So between the 30th of August and the 5th of September, this devolved voter registration exercise will be ongoing. So we are doing very well in Anambra State, and the people are enthusiastic. And if you look at the figure of completed registrations from Anambra State, you can see that it is quite high. So we are encouraged by what the people are doing.
Let's look at some conflicting ex parte injunctions coming out of the course of recent. What's the position of INEC to all these?
We have had calls, both at the level of the commission and at the level of my office, to express concern at the type of conflicting court orders coming from courts of coordinated jurisdiction, especially in relation to the same matter. And we have also had calls to point out that the election we have in Anambra relates to the governorship election in Anambra State. But when people and individuals go to Jigawa, go to Oyo State, go to Bauchi State, go to Imo State, to go and get court orders from courts of coordinated jurisdiction, it creates its own challenges, it creates its own dynamics, and also it creates its own problems. Because for a particular court to sit and hear a matter, it must have both substantive and geographical jurisdiction. And we felt that some of these courts do not have the virus to handle some of these matters. And we complained and also pointed out that the National Judicial Council must intervene and the Bar Association must also intervene to stem this particular tide. And we are happy that the two organs have intervened and are trying to stem this particular tide, because it does not augur well for our democracy, it does not augur well for the electoral process, it does not augur well for the profession as a whole, and also it does not augur well for the judiciary. So we are happy that an intervention is in place, and hopefully it will stem the tide, and then we'll enter 2023 election without much challenge.
Where are we today? On a nationwide and region-wide scale, we are seeing challenges to national order driven by profound and pervasive sense of exclusion and marginalization. And I don't speak of ethnic or religious marginalization, which is really another elite dog whisper to acquire more for themselves, for ourselves, in the contest for political booty. I speak of a division between the have-nots who have no hope and the haves who seem to have it all. So the attacks we see on law and order are themselves symptomatic, and they are driven by emergent critiques of the fabric of order itself. These critiques are manifesting as insurrections and insurgencies along various axes of identity. These rejections of formal institutions may be driven by conceptions of religious obligations, ethnic identities, and generational antipathies, but that is only superficial. What they have in common is that there are patterns of solidarity of those who have no stake in an orderly society, because such a society appears to offer them nothing. And so they are in fundamental, violent, and implacable opposition to a system that appears to favor only a few.
That is how far time can permit us tonight on Abuja Dispatch. For further information, comments, and suggestions, you can join the conversation on any of our various social media platforms. Thank you for sharing your precious moments with us tonight on Abuja Dispatch. A week from now, we'll bring you another refreshing package. Same time, same station. Adegboye Garogbodo is my name. Have a good night.